Hands-Free Podcast.
Now, a small animal will play with its genitals. What?
I can't stop laughing.
Hello and welcome to another fantastic edition of the Pants-Free Podcast. Pants never required. On this episode, we test the limits of your attention span and teach you how to twerk dance your cares away. Here now is your host, Balonius Francine Marconi, and his podcast compadre, Nick Miles.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Pants Free Podcast. My name is Balonius Francine Marconi, and as introduced previously by our fine announcer, it's Nick Miles here with me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and shalom.
Nick just got off of a trip, he's always on the road, and you're back home in Portland, but you just literally walked through the door and you just sat down. You haven't even unpacked, breathed, or you've been up awake since 3 a.m.
Right. Oh, wait. Weird.
You're getting texts from your mother. What I really want to hear is Nick shut his phone off and then throw it against the wall.
No, I walked through the door and it was that typical, as you come in the door, your staff gives you a handful of papers and said you're on the air for the podcast in minutes.
That's really how I think the intro of when we do a video of this podcast. Yeah. That's how it should be.
It should be like the modern version of Downton Abbey, the beginning of Downton Abbey with the bells things and the that's how it is in real life, podcast fans.
Well, you know what we haven't done, and I can't believe we haven't done this, because I do a behind-the-scenes podcast for every podcast I do. You and I have never really done a behind-the-scenes podcast, because we'll do like a 20-minute pants-free pod, but the conversation between us goes on for like an hour and a half sometimes.
I know. I think the podcast, but like most of that stuff, I can't imagine anybody being what interested in. But I think the podcast is kind of more behind the scenes than anything else.
The whole podcast.
Yeah, it's like the behind the scenes podcast,
Well, there's a lot of noise going on at your house right now. What's happening?
I just had to turn the phone off from vibrating because
Yeah, just take it, shut it off, and throw it out the window.
Yeah, well, I didn't throw it out the window, but I did the others.
Does anybody ever notice when they listen to this podcast, I'm not the one with the constant interruptions and
no,
technical
it's just
problems?
Your cat. Every time I mention small animals and their genitals, your cats go into a freakish state.
Yeah, I mean, animals, that's understandable, but, we try to have a professional decorum without pants.
My phone is actually my pet.
I put it in the toilet right now. Don't think it hasn't been there. No, so Nick is back, and Nick, I talked about this on the Me Plus Cake podcast yesterday. I am moving in with my girlfriend, Sierra Cake, and I've hired movers from a leaflet that was shoved into my door, and just thrown caution to the wind, I guess. I mean, I haven't learned my lesson from the last time those meth addicts moved me in Portland. So I saw a flyer. It said $70 an hour. I thought that sounded pretty good.
No, and I think that's a good price. The trouble is that, when you get $70 an hour, you get the meth heads moving you.
Nobody wants to physically do any of that stuff. Like
right.
Taking stuff out of cupboards, putting it in boxes, taking it downstairs and upstairs and kill myself. I'll have a lot of that to do, but luckily, because I found a flyer on my door, if I'm not dead, I will have my robot bed moved without my physical work.
I like that. Getting things moved without any physical work. It's like you just think it and it happens.
Yeah,
you're minus $200. But.
It's sort of like magic. By the way, Nick, are you sporting a beard now?
I am.
Because last week you threatened that you were going to cut it off, and I don't think you did.
I didn't.
So you defied the truth.
No. I was waiting for some producer down at NBC Sports to tell me it had to be shaved, and they didn't. So Guess what? It stayed.
So because your dad is very beardy, what does he have to say about your new beard?
I think the last time my parents came over, they went, "Oh, you have a beard." And that was the length of the conversation.
That was really it. Is that kind of your parents' reaction to pretty much everything in your life? Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're very, very cool. Although it's going to be interesting. My parents looking at buying the house across the street from me. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, man. How do you feel about that?
I don't think they'll move into it for 5 years or so, but I think they'll move into it so they're close to me, which will be convenient.
Well, if they need help moving, I have a flyer for them that I found shoved in my door. And if I'm not murdered, I'll highly recommend these guys.
Are these the meth dealers?
No, that was the meth. That was Portland. That was the guys that moved me in Portland for over $1,000. These guys are $210. I mean, that's a good bargain, right?
They're just pot dealers.
Yeah, we don't know. Kind of a monumental thing this week that happened with our friend Dave from Dave's Killer Bread. You know how he has his long, flowing locks of hair?
Yes.
He shaved them all off.
What?
Yeah, his fiancée, Michelle, shaved his head.
Wow.
And he didn't even lose a bet or anything. And she didn't want to do it. She's like, no, I don't want to shave your head. But he's like, no, do it. And I'll be honest, the man looks good.
Really?
Dave's a handsome guy. And, he works out and stuff like that. But he's, you could have an odd-shaped head, but he seems to have a head that it works fine.
Are you saying I can have a odd-shaped head, or anybody can?
Well, I've seen you with your head, pretty closely shaved, like with a number 2. It looked good. I, however, look like some kind of a mental patient.
With or without your head shaved?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter either way. But so Dave is now sporting a new do, but you know what? He may have a new do, but his bread tastes delicious still. It's still the same great taste, and I get excited because my mom, she lives in a suburb of where I live, and they have Dave's Killer Bread there now, too.
Well, then your mom's life is complete.
Well, she's gluten-free now.
So she can't eat it.
Well, here's what she said. She said, look, I'm gluten-free, but it's so hard. I have to have at least a couple of slices of Dave's Killer Bread every week.
All right, Dave's Killer Bread, the food that killed gluten.
That's right, the gluten killer.
Yeah.
So if you are hoping and wondering what the taste of Dave's Killer Bread might be like, just check out their website, daveskillerbread.com. Just say no to bread on drugs.
And now it's time for Pants Free News.
Nick, now it's my favorite part of the podcast where we go in review this week in Pants Free News. Take it away, Big Daddy.
Oh, well, let's start off. She is the new slut of music.
Yeah. Miley Cyrus, of course, on the VMAs, was grinding on Robin Thicke and using foam fingers to do various things, and has been the subject of much memery and giffery on the internet. She now has even one-upped that, has posting more racy photos on her Twitters. It's just kind of like, hi, I'm really trying hard to get your attention, but then tell you I don't care.
Here's the first thing, is who really does care about Miley Cyrus? I mean, I guess any desperate teenage boy, maybe.
She's an attractive girl, but her behavior makes her unattractive. And
yeah, I mean, it would drive me nuts to have that as a girlfriend.
Well, seeing as how you probably wouldn't go for her type.
Right, but I'm just saying, as a partner, if she was my partner, I'd be like, oh, just too much. Stop already.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who she's trying to prove that she's crazy and dirty and naughty, but we get it.
Right.
We get the message. You're nuts. You're not that sweet girl we all thought you might be as Hannah Montana. We don't care, so you can't stop. We hope you will, not because we care about what you actually do. We're just tired of seeing it. Put it away.
I guess that she's still doing stuff, so therefore she's obviously making money at it.
Well, obviously. And the one thing that was funny on the VMAs was when they shot to Rihanna in the audience. She looked like pissed when Miley Cyrus, they showed the Will Smith family and all, they're disgust. But Rihanna also, I think Rihanna was probably just more pissed that she wasn't the one because that song was originally written for her.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so, and it's a huge hit, so.
And the thing is, though, too, everybody was talking about it the next morning. I mean, PR-wise, she won.
But doesn't it seem like we'll talk about anything that's just dumb? I mean, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about Miley Cyrus. We'll talk about Amanda Bynes. We'll talk about Lindsay Lohan. These are people who have a high level of vapidity, and they pretend like they don't care what anyone thinks, and they'll just do stupid things to get attention. But if they didn't care what anybody thought, then why do they keep trying to get our... So they're trying really hard to get our attention. So everyone cares. Anyone who tells you they don't care, they care times 1,000.
Right.
By the way, Nick, I don't care.
It's the news! It's the news!
Guess what? Twerking is now official.
Yeah, I guess the dictionary has now made twerking a word, but don't you have the word twerking and just twerking in general? I have fatigue of that as well. And, well, they've dubbed Miley Cyrus the queen of twerking.
Well, here's the deal. We're leaders in modern culture. A lot of people get their modern culture information from us. We all know that.
Oh, boy, it's a badge of honor.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, a lot of people, when we're sick and tired of something, a lot of people are just actually getting into it.
Oh, so you're telling me people like my mom are like, oh, well, show me how to twerk.
Yeah, I'd like a Vine video of that too, please.
It'll be a vlog of just my mother teaching people how she learned how to twerk by watching Daily Grace.
Just all you have to say is, Mom, show us how to twerk.
I think a lot of people are, like me, fatigued over the whole thing. And Miley Cyrus is dubbed the queen, but she just came out and they leaked this on the internet, so you know it must be good. A song with Justin Bieber. Well, as you can see, it's a masterpiece. So, yeah. I mean, turn up, I came up, and that's the whole song right there. It doesn't change. It's funny, he said in the song, just right before he asked what her name was, he said it's Miley Cyrus. Doesn't he even listen to himself?
No, apparently not.
Up in this party and I'm turned. I don't want to be. And I don't want to wake up. I don't want to party till the break of dawn. I don't want to see the sun come up. I think that most things suck after midnight. So come on, really? We have to do this all night. And when they say we're going to make love all night or something like, no woman wants that. Who wants to give it a good 15, 20 minutes and call it a night, all right? Watch a movie and go to bed.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't need this. So it sounds like Justin Bieber in the song is trying to be romantic with the girl, and then what is he, inviting her over to the house to twerk for him? I don't really understand how that works.
Well, I'm sure that she goes over on a weekly basis to do a bit of Bieber twerking.
Right. Bieber twerk. Just add those together, and then you got magic.
Actually, it would be called Burke, wouldn't it? Bieber twerk.
Do you think Justin and Miley will be an item soon?
No. But I think that would be the end of the world.
if the two combine, I mean, they're already doing songs together. How far could it be from a relationship?
Oh God, I feel slightly sick.
Hands-free news.
I would just wanted to tell you that one of our favorite stars of all time is getting a new role. It looks like Walter White is going Batman.
Heisenberg is going to be Lex Luthor.
That's right, Mr. Bryan Cranston.
And he's signing like a multi-picture deal.
Yeah, he's actually he was the dad in Malcolm in the Middle, and then he was Walter White in
I like that you're stating things that are like very, very obvious to the rest. Well, did you know that he was Walter White on Breaking Bad? And did you also know before that he was on this show called Malcolm in the Middle?
Here's the deal. I talk to a lot of people who haven't discovered this show, and unlike me, I own every episode.
Yeah,
but,
it's weird because every episode is on Netflix.
And you can get the current season 2 on Amazon Prime. But the interesting thing about it is that it's funny. Rolling Stone say he's done 5 seasons as Walter White, whereas actually I think he's done 6.
Yeah, this is the 6th and final season, right?
Right.
So sad. There's only 5 episodes left. Did you watch this week's yet?
No. So what I'm doing with this is I'm waiting until the season's complete.
Oh, you're one of those.
I'm going to watch them all one after the other. Because the trouble is...
That's how good the show is. I can't wait that long.
Right. Well, here's my problem with it. If I start watching them, I'll watch like 3 episodes a day, and then suddenly I'm like, I haven't got any more. What do I do? And then I get depressed.
Then you're sent into a shame spiral, and then you decide to maybe do some meth.
Well, I'm in a constant shame spiral, but I kind of know where you're going with that. Here's the other thing that is really interesting is I got into the Newsroom recently. Have you watched that?
I hear that that's a great show, so I'm probably going to have to watch that.
It is absolutely unbelievably good. Like it makes me feel like I want to get back into the news business.
So Nick recommends the Newsroom. I haven't watched it. I understand Olivia Munn is in it, and I love her.
And Dav Patel is in it.
Jeff Daniels, right?
Jeff Daniels is the main character, but Dav Patel is the kid for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and he was also in Skins. Really good actor.
The English version of Skins?
What's that? Yeah, the English version.
Because that's the only version to watch, right? The English version.
The American version of Skins was weak.
It's garbage. It's bollocks.
Absolute bollocks and buckets of blood.
Rubbish.
Trash. Garbage.
What were we talking about again?
I don't know. Stories coming out by Yin Yang. CEO of Starbucks says Obamacare isn't going to make him lay people off, which I like.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who is on top of the world. He could pretty much write his own ticket to do anything. He's got one of the most successful companies in the world. And unlike many giant companies in this country, now with Obamacare, they're claiming they can no longer do business unless they cut their employees' health benefits. And Howard Schultz says, nope, we're not doing that at Starbucks. Our partners are important. He said other companies have announced they won't provide coverage for spouses. Others are lobbying for cutoffs to be at 40 hours. But Starbucks will be continuing maintaining benefits for partners and won't use the new law as an excuse to cut benefits or lower benefits for its workers. So that's pretty great.
That's awesome.
People will come down on Starbucks and say, don't go there. But why not support companies that do this? And why not stand up and say, hey, it's about the workers. It's about the people. It's not just about making billions of dollars. Because believe me, no matter what they cut or do, these companies are making, and the companies that are doing this won't have any problems making a profit.
Right. I'm not a supporter of Starbucks bashing. There's a lot of people that won't drink Starbucks coffee that says it sucks, it's no good. But you know what? I think their food's good. There's only one thing I don't like about Starbucks, and that's their price. But you know what? If you want it, you have to pay it.
Hey, if they're using that to pay their workers, then I don't mind paying a couple of extra dollars if that's going to go back into making sure the guy that works there and works a full-time job can, put his wife on his health benefits.
Right.
And the companies that do that should be ashamed of themselves, that they take their the benefits away from their workers. I mean, really? That's vercoculous.
Like our page at facebook.com/pantsfreepod. Pants never required.
My final story today is it's kind of a sad one, but kind of a great one, too. I mean, we all know that we have to die at some point. But
no! We're going to live forever, Nick. What are you talking about?
Your soul will live forever as long as you don't do anything to damage that.
Did you say soul? I'm sorry. We don't have those.
Yeah.
We gave those away to be in radio, remember?
Oh, yes.
And even further when you joined television.
Yes, right.
So,
a couple who are married for 66 years die within hours of each other.
That's pretty sweet. I mean, if you have the love of your life for 66 years, and I'm sure they had their ups and downs, but they were obviously together. They were old school. That's 66 years. It's insane. Right. I'll be lucky to live 66 years, let alone have a relationship for that long. So, Nick, when I pass away one day, Nick, Do you hope that you'll pass away within hours of my death?
Listen, if you die after me, there will be a miracle in the world.
Well, you got to live till at least 66.
Right.
Because by then, we'll have been together that long.
Our radio marriage will be fabulous.
That's right. And finally, you can get the keys to the house.
Oh, yes. There we go. Because that's all I've been waiting for.
Yeah, the keys to my mansion.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, there you have it. Another fantastic, fabulous edition of the Pants Free Podcast.
Yeah, and in the whole time was done pantsless.
That's right. You know, we don't normally promote clothing here on the Pants Free Podcast, but there is one place that we do believe that is perfect for you to get some kind of clothing, or maybe even a coffee mug. Check out the merch page at pantsfreepod.com for T-shirts, mugs, all kinds of things, iPhone cases, stuff like that. You want to show your love for the podcast, go check it out now on pantsfreepod.com.
Because it's all about your pants and the lack of.
Yeah, Nick is drunk right now, by the way.
I'm always drunk right now.
Well, until next time, my name is Belonius Francine Marconi, along with my podcast compadre Nick Miles, saying...
I'm a small mammal that likes to play with their genitals.
Pantalones libero.
Hey, girl.